Hello there, I hope you're doing very well. My name is Ruben and I'm a mathematics teacher. I'd like to warmly welcome you to my channel. In this video, we are going to learn precisely what a percentage is, and then we will explore how to calculate it effectively using three distinct and different methods, all while working through the very same practical exercise. What is 25% of 80? We are going to learn how to calculate 25% of 80 by using fractions, using proportions, and finally by using the scientific calculators. Once we have completed the fraction section and the proportion section, we will arrive at a very important conclusion that will be of great use to you. With all of that said, now we can finally begin this video. Alright, let's begin our discussion by calculating how to express a percentage as a fraction. The very first thing I absolutely need to tell you is that a percentage always represents a part of 100. Therefore, any percentage can always be written as a fraction that has 100 as its denominator. For example, if you have 3%, you can write this down as 3 divided by 100. If you have, for example, the value of 84%, you can write this as a fraction, like 84 over 100, always with 100 in the denominator. 25%, we're going to be able to write it out as the words 25%. We will be able to write it as 25 over 100. And now, there's a concept that is truly important when you're looking at fractions and you need to calculate the fraction of a particular number, for example, 1/4
of
60 or 3/5
from a total number of 300.
This particular one that you've got right here,
right? Which is the same as this one, always. But it always transforms into a multiplication. So, if we want to calculate 25%, which we write as 25 over 100, we then apply a multiplication by 80. Alright, what are we going to do now? We're simply going to solve this multiplication. We have to remember that if there is nothing in the denominator, then we always have a 1. So how do we multiply fractions? It's actually very easy. You multiply the numerator with the numerator and the denominator with the denominator. That means you're going to end up with 25 multiplied by 80.
So what kind of amount are we talking about? 100. Okay, good.
We solve 25 times 80. This leaves us 2000 over 100. And now we have to remember something. If we have two numbers that are dividing and end in 0, we can simplify the number of zeros we have, right? So what will I have left here? I'll have 20 over 1. No.
20 divided by 1, you're still left with 20.
So what that means is 25% of the number 80 is going to be equal to the number 20. Now, we're going to determine the value of 25% of 80, but we'll be doing this by applying a proportion. And then, once we have successfully completed this particular proportion exercise, we're going to arrive at a truly significant and very important conclusion. Alright, let's proceed now to carefully construct the proportional. If 100% is truly equivalent to the entire total, that is to say, to the complete quantity that we currently possess, which is 80, the 25%, that is precisely what we are aiming to achieve. Let's just call it, for example, the letter X. How do we solve a proportion? It's very simple. We cross multiply and then we divide by the number that's left alone. In other words, we get a
25 multiplied by 80. It's definitely over 100.
We're going to multiply 25 by 80. That gives us 2000
over 100.
we simplify things, just as we did today. They're getting away from us, they're getting away, so we're left with 20 over 1. And the 20 divided by 1 is 20. As you can clearly observe, we end up with exactly the same result using both methods. And now I want us to consider a very important conclusion.
If you can appreciate, in the section where we perform the operations,
we arrive at the same conclusion, which will be the percentage I want to find, 25 multiplied by the amount I have divided by 100. What do I mean by this? That if, for example, you want to calculate 32% of 500, how are you going to figure that out? You're going to do 32 times 500, all divided by 100. And that's a practical way to be able to calculate any percentage. Before we move on to how to solve a percentage with a calculator, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to the channel, because on the channel you'll gradually find a lot of math topics. I'd like to ask you, if this video was helpful, please give it a like. And if you'd like to make a donation so I can continue creating free educational videos, I've left the corresponding links in the video description. Any donation you're willing to make helps me out tremendously. Alright, so now we're going to take a look at how we can solve a percentage problem using a calculator. To use the calculator, what you're simply going to do is you're going to multiply the percentage that you want to find, in this case 25, by the number you want to calculate the percentage of. In our example, it's 80. And now, what are you going to do? You're going to press Shift and the equals sign, because as you can see, above the equals sign, in orange, is the percentage symbol. You press that and you'll see it gives you 20, which is the exact same value we found in our previous exercises. Now, if you're going to do this on a standard calculator, you won't need to press the Shift key. Instead, you'll notice there's a small button clearly labeled percentage. You simply press that percentage button, then equals, and your result will immediately appear.